He's a salesman. He's trying to sell the fight, which is good, you know. That's what he's known for. That's why they bring him out over and over. How I speak is inside the ring with my hands. You know, I know this is entertainment, but when we go inside the ring and punch each other in the face and break each other's faces, isn't that enough entertainment? We all want the same thing. We all want to win. All want to be the champion, the best in the world.
I would say every morning you got a chance and you got a choice. You know, there's no such thing as luck. It's what you make of it.
I tell my dad the ones I hate are the good ones, and I hate this one. Maybe it's just the want. I want it more, I think. Just me being me. Tim's Tim, Sebastian's Sebastian, and I think Sebastian's better. Just that.
Kedua sabuk itu kembali ke kita sudah melakukan. Kamu melihat mereka menggambar dengan cara yang sama. Tarik mereka karena mereka dicoret.
Boy, cutting the weight too, but I mean, you still.
Or sparring and stuff like that, but my man is making moves before the guys go to punches. He's moving his feet. I mean, it was marvelous, honestly, to see this dude defensively move the way that he does things. He talks a whole lot during the sparring. This dude punched me with a right hand. The joint came so fast, I didn't even see it, right? And it hit me on the forehead. And I got my headgear on. And it jarred my neck, right? I said, damn! And he moves away like I was hurt. I said, no, I'm good. But goddamn, he stopped me, and I wasn't even coming at him. You know what I mean? I'm good. Goddamn.
It got you there. That jab, use that jab, and bounce and move. You know, I mean, he was doing it though, but he wasn't doing it like he normally do. You seen some of his fights, and you know what I'm talking about. He got so, I think, hung up on knocking, guys out, and then he found out you can't punch. He don't care about you touching. You know what I mean? But I want to get away from that. You know what I mean?
We are live at the Wells Fargo Center, where Jaron, Boots, Ennis, and Sebastian Fundora are now on a collision course for one of the most intriguing matchups the 154-pound division can offer. Ennis is chasing undisputed glory and believes Fundora's towering frame, incredible reach, and awkward fighting style will provide the ultimate test of his versatility, skills, and ability to adapt under pressure. Jaron Boots Ennis is approaching the Sebastian Fundora showdown with one clear goal in mind: delivering a statement performance that further strengthens his position among boxing's elite fighters. Instead of allowing the growing attention, outside opinions, and constant speculation to distract him from the task ahead, Ennis says his focus remains firmly on training, preparation, execution, and making sure he is at his absolute best when the opening bell finally rings. With so much at stake, Ennis understands that this fight could become a defining moment in his career, and he appears determined to prove that he belongs at the very top of the sport.
I need 2 McChickens with cheese, a large fry, and a medium Sprite. CBG, man.
Away from the gym, Ennis has also maintained a relaxed, calm, and confident mindset, even joking about enjoying fast food during training camp and showing that he is not allowing the enormous magnitude of this matchup to disrupt his normal routine or preparation. Despite the intense attention surrounding the fight, Ennis appears comfortable with the pressure and remains focused on doing what he needs to do behind the scenes. However, once fight night finally arrives, that confidence will have to translate from words and attitude into real action inside the ring. The relaxed personality fans have seen during camp will be replaced by the intensity, discipline, and urgency required when the opening bell sounds. With so much at stake, Ennis knows that confidence alone will not be enough, and he will have to turn all of his preparation into a complete performance when it matters most.
Doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, having a lot of fun, man.
How's it feel good to eat?
Feel great, man. Feel great. I'm waiting on my sponsorship from McDonald's, man, right now as we speak.
Yo, I saw that on the matchroom thing when you went up to Sparkinella. I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, that joint was fire. Yeah, everybody think that's a real like meal and all that stuff, but not yet. We working on it. Hopefully.
Despite the growing attention surrounding the matchup and the wide range of opinions coming from fans, analysts, and boxing observers, Ennis indicated that he has learned to block out the outside noise and concentrate entirely on his own performance. Rather than allowing predictions, criticism, or constant discussion surrounding the fight to affect his mindset, he remains committed to controlling what he can control and preparing himself for the challenge ahead. Ennis emphasized that his attention remains firmly focused on training, sharpening his skills, following the game plan, and executing everything he has worked on throughout camp. His priority is to make sure he enters the ring physically prepared, mentally focused, and completely confident in his abilities. When the opening bell finally rings, Ennis wants his preparation to speak for itself and believes that performing at the highest level possible will ultimately matter more than anything being said outside the ring.
They know how great I am, so no matter what I do, it's always something. That's why I got to the point where I don't worry about what nobody say. As long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, as long as I'm winning and making my team, my family, my supporters happy, that's all that matters. You gotta be able to always have your mind sharp and be able to elevate your game. And that'll be my goal each and every time. Not worry about these haters and saying dollars, but knowing they still saying those things, but I'm always gonna get better each and every day, and that's my goal, is to keep getting better and better each and every fight, and that's what I've been.
When discussing the fight itself, Ennis made it clear that he intends to deliver a dominant and convincing performance from the opening bell. He expressed strong confidence in his ability to control the action, dictate the pace, and impose his skills throughout the fight while adding another impressive victory to an already growing resume. Ennis believes that his preparation, athletic ability, technical skills, and experience have positioned him to handle the challenge and perform at the highest level when the pressure is at its greatest. For him, this is more than simply another opportunity to win. It is a chance to make a powerful statement against one of the most difficult opponents in the division. A dominant showing would not only strengthen his momentum but also reinforce his belief that he belongs among the very best fighters in the sport and deserves to be recognized as one of boxing's elite.
Yeah, to my collector in this collection. Yo, on the right, still on the right, to the right.
How do you stay hungry as a fighter?
Staying hungry as a fighter, just for real, just the goals that I want to achieve, and my family backing me, behind me, and things like that. So that's a lot of hunger, in here. And like I said, I'm just getting started. Come Saturday night, we're gonna add another one to the column, and another.
As for Ennis, Roy Jones Jr. emphasized that patience is no longer an option for Boots. After spending years waiting for major opportunities and bigger fights, Ennis now needs to remain active and continue pursuing the most significant challenges available to him. Jones specifically identified Fundora as a logical next opponent, pointing to Fundora's aggressive fighting style, unusual physical dimensions, and history of being hurt in previous fights as factors that could create a fascinating matchup against Ennis's power, speed, and offensive firepower. From Jones's perspective, the matchup could give Boots another opportunity to prove himself against high-level opposition while continuing to build momentum at the highest level of the sport. Jones believes that staying active against elite competition is the smartest path forward for Ennis, especially while the rest of the 154-pound division continues to sort itself out. Rather than waiting on every major name or allowing his career to stall, Boots should keep moving forward, take the biggest opportunities available, and let his performances establish his position among boxing's elite.
Boots should go and try to make the Fundora fight?
He has to. Where else he gonna go? He been in this game 10 years, Andre. He gotta make every move he can make right now. He ain't got to, he can't wait forever. We saw what happened with Boo Boo. Boo Boo kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and look what happened with Boo Boo. He waited too long. You understand me? So you can't keep waiting like that. He gotta go. That's why sometimes he having these lapses, because he's not, like you say, he's not used to having to stay focused the whole night, because he's not fighting that he ain't got the right opportunities. So now you got it. You need to go take these opportunities now while they're available. Guess what? Fundora has been KO'd, and you have KO power. So that's not a fight you can't win. You understand me? Yeah. And that makes the virtual fight even bigger too, because now
if him and Earl fights, the winner of that fight, you go to Dallas and fight that person, there's another huge payday.
It's more money.
You understand where I'm
Yeah.
coming from? So you got to look at it from that side too, but that's not ducking. That's just taking fights the smart way, taking a smarter fight.
Sharing that excitement, Teddy Atlas praised Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s steadily improving boxing skills, highlighting the growth he has shown in his technique, confidence, and overall approach inside the ring. Atlas described a potential clash between Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Jaron "Boots" Ennis as a fascinating battle between two complete, dangerous, and highly determined fighters. In his view, both men possess the ability to create problems in multiple areas, making the potential matchup especially compelling for boxing fans. With Ennis bringing speed, power, precision, and versatility, while Ortiz continues developing his skills and showing greater maturity with every performance, the fight could become a true test of ability, composure, and determination. Atlas believes that a meeting between these two elite competitors would provide plenty of action and could reveal which fighter is truly ready to take another major step toward the top of the sport.
Confident guys, you know, two guys with great heart. I mean, look, I say this, Virgil showed me a few fights ago that he had a dimension I didn't know he had. When he was just, you know, going through guys, knocking them out with body shots, seeking and destroying. I don't think I knew or anyone knew that he had the ability to use his legs and box and do some boxing. He showed me that dimension. He showed me that dimension in that fight that some people thought he lost. First fight that he got tested. We didn't get a knockout. With
He praised Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s improving boxing ability, describing a potential Ennis-Ortiz matchup as a battle between two complete, skilled, and determined fighters who possess the tools to push each other to the limit. However, Atlas also highlighted Fundora's continued evolution as a fighter, particularly the improvements he has made with his step-behind jab, long-range control, timing, and relentless pressure. Those developing weapons have helped make Fundora a uniquely difficult puzzle for opponents to solve at 154 pounds, giving him the ability to control distance while constantly forcing his opponents to deal with his awkward rhythm and physical advantages. Against someone like Boots Ennis, those qualities could become especially important, because Ennis would have to find a way through Fundora's length, pressure, and unconventional style without allowing the taller fighter to dictate the pace of the contest. In Atlas's view, Fundora's improvements have made him a much more dangerous challenge for anyone in the division, including the highly talented Boots Ennis.
Of course, the giant, the Fundora. I mean, he's learning how to fight tall a little bit better. He is, a little better. But still, he is coming after you behind that jab. He doesn't stop. I don't know what his punch numbers are. They got to go through the roof. I think he jabs in his sleep. I think that he's, like if you went in and you peeked in on him when he's sleeping like this. With that southpaw jab. The jab, he's coming out of the locker room. I think when he's eating dinner. He never stops. He don't leave you alone. And he's coming forward. He's always putting pressure. He's breaking you down. And then he puts punches together nice. He goes to the body. He throws uppercuts. You know, he puts them together real well. But
Trainer Robert Garcia is fully on board with the idea of Jaron "Boots" Ennis facing Virgil Ortiz Jr., making it clear that Ortiz would be ready to accept the challenge without hesitation if the opportunity becomes available. Garcia also believes that Ortiz has more than enough talent, power, skill, and ability to make an immediate impact at 154 pounds and compete with the division's elite fighters right away. Rather than viewing Ortiz as someone who needs an extended adjustment period, Garcia appears confident that his fighter can step into the division and immediately make his presence felt against the toughest names available. He also dismissed the idea that Boots necessarily needs a tune-up fight before taking on the division's best competition, suggesting that Ennis is already experienced and talented enough to jump straight into major matchups. From Garcia's perspective, elite fighters should be willing to test themselves against elite opposition, and a fight between Ennis and Ortiz could provide exactly the kind of high-level challenge that fans have been waiting to see.
Well, Virgil might want to take, no. Then that means he's the one that doesn't want it. On 100%, we'll take it right away.
Right. Man, no, that like you said, I feel like it is one of those fights
fight.
You know, people want to see over and over again.
Great fight.
Do you see Boots different from 47 to 54 at all?
Look, at 47, at 47, he did have a couple fights where he struggled a little, especially when he fight at home. But I think that happens to a lot of fighters. When they fight at home, they're a little more confident, a little more, you know, they have a lot of distractions also. So that could have been the reason. But he always showed very good skills, very good talent. At 154, the guys are bigger, even though there was, you know, they're the same height.
Gary Russell Jr. also sees Ennis's natural athleticism, versatility, speed, and overall talent as major advantages in a potential matchup against Ortiz. However, Russell warned that Ortiz's power remains a serious threat, pointing out that the Texas contender possesses enough punching power to hurt opponents with either hand and change the fight in an instant. That kind of two-handed power means Ennis cannot afford to become careless or leave openings during exchanges, especially against a fighter capable of turning one clean shot into a major momentum shift. Russell also believes Ortiz's disciplined and fundamentally sound style could make some of the counter-exchanges that previously troubled Ennis less likely to develop in the same way. Ortiz's ability to stay composed, maintain his structure, and choose his punches carefully could force Ennis to approach the fight with greater patience and precision. While Ennis may hold significant advantages in athleticism and versatility, Russell believes Ortiz has the power, discipline, and technical foundation to present a dangerous challenge from the opening bell.
Freakishly good when it comes to his God-given talent, athleticism, and stuff like that. That's what's going to win him over the fight. But he got to not get hit with a hook. That's what he got hurt with. I saw it based off of the styles. Now, when you talk about styles and the kinks that's in each other's armor, Boots, I feel like being matched up against Ortiz, that hook is not going to catch him. Now, granted, Ortiz got pop in both hands. Stylistic wise, I feel like he has a good style. He has a typical style, to be honest, you know, but just like Xander, he's obedient. He's not going to deviate and try to do nothing flashy for the crowd. He's going to go there.
Garcia also pushed back against suggestions that Ortiz needs another tune-up fight before stepping into a matchup of that magnitude. In his view, those arguments sound more like hesitation than genuine preparation, especially considering what Ortiz has already accomplished against high-level opposition. Garcia maintained that Ortiz has proven himself against quality competition and has demonstrated the skills, confidence, toughness, and ability needed to compete at the highest level of the sport. Because of that, Garcia sees no reason to delay the biggest opportunities while waiting for another lower-level fight to build confidence or momentum. Instead, he believes Ortiz should continue challenging himself against the best available opponents and take advantage of the opportunities that can elevate his career. From Garcia's perspective, a potential clash with Ennis represents exactly the kind of major challenge Ortiz should embrace, and he believes his fighter is already prepared to step into the spotlight and compete when the biggest stakes are on the line.
That it'll be one of the best fights of the year whenever it happens. You know, it's a great fight. These guys could fight 2 or 3 times, and the fans won't stop watching. It'll be a beautiful fight.
You know, Eddie said something interesting. He said that Virgil probably going to want to fight in between, right? Because he had, what, 2 rounds against Lubin. Well, that was in November, I believe, or something like that. It was a while back, and, you know, it's been a little while since he fought. You, as a trainer, would you prefer Virgil to get a fight in between?
When a manager, a trainer, a promoter right away says, well, I think Virgil might want to take another fight, that means you're the one that doesn't want it, right? Honestly, because you're not, Eddie's not Virgil's manager, Eddie's not Virgil's promoter,
But Russell offered an even more intriguing warning when discussing Sebastian Fundora, suggesting that the towering southpaw could present an even more difficult stylistic puzzle than Ortiz. In Russell's view, Fundora's extraordinary height, unusual dimensions, long reach, southpaw stance, and awkward style create a completely different set of challenges that could force Ennis to make constant adjustments throughout the fight. Facing a fighter of Fundora's size means Ennis would repeatedly have to find ways to close distance, avoid the long-range attacks, and create effective openings against an opponent who naturally controls space with his reach. Having to consistently punch upward against someone as tall and rangy as Fundora creates challenges that Ennis simply cannot prepare for in exactly the same way as he would against a more conventional opponent. Russell believes those physical and stylistic differences could make Fundora a particularly complicated matchup, even for a versatile fighter like Ennis, who has already shown the ability to adapt to different styles inside the ring.
Somebody like Ortiz, he'll fix the problem by then. You know, so Ortiz, yes, he got a puncher's chance. You know, He come in shape. He's obedient, just as Xander was. But Boots, he got the ability to pull away from this guy and beat him in great fashion. You know, that will be another great-ass fight, hands down.
Facts. Who do you feel like is a bigger test for Boots? The 6'4" Tower Inferno Sebastian Fundora or a Virgil Ortiz?
Fundora.
Following Jaron Boots, Ennis's statement-making TKO victory over Xander Zayas, Teofimo Lopez gave Ennis credit for surviving adversity and eventually taking control of the fight. However, Lopez also pointed to the moments when Ennis appeared vulnerable, suggesting that the performance provided elite contenders at 154 pounds with valuable footage they could study, analyze, and potentially exploit in future matchups. Ennis was forced to deal with genuine danger during the contest, particularly in a difficult third round when Zayas managed to create moments that tested his composure and defensive awareness. Despite those challenges, Ennis remained composed, adjusted to what was happening in front of him, and gradually began taking control of the fight as the rounds progressed. He ultimately turned the momentum in his favor, breaking down Zayas before stopping him in the 7th round. While the victory strengthened Ennis's reputation and showed his ability to overcome adversity, Lopez believes the fight also revealed small openings that other elite fighters could carefully study and attempt to target when they eventually step into the ring with Boots.
He overcame some kind of hard spots there.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I see things, though, that I think other champions in that weight class or contenders could capitalize. I'm not there yet. I'm at 147. We'll go from there, but for anybody at 154, I hope they...
Meanwhile, former two-division champion Danny Garcia believes Ennis is entering the most dangerous and defining stage of his career. Garcia sees Boots competing at the height of his physical and mental prime, with the confidence, experience, discipline, and competitive mentality required to thrive when a fight becomes difficult and the pressure reaches its highest point. In Garcia's view, Ennis is no longer simply a talented prospect trying to prove himself. He has developed into a championship-level fighter who understands how to handle adversity and make adjustments when the situation demands it. His victory over Zayas only strengthened that impression, showing that he can survive difficult moments before taking control and finishing strongly. After the Zayas victory, Ennis now sits near the top of the 154-pound division with the WBA and WBO titles, placing him in an even stronger position as he looks toward the next major challenge. With championship status, growing confidence, and elite competition waiting ahead, the next step in Boots Ennis's career could be bigger than anything he has faced before.
33, 34, 35, that's when he becomes, I think that's when he becomes the type of fighter you can't hit. You know what I mean?
So what could you kind of tell him in terms of like trying to shore up his defense a little bit? Because when he got hit in the third, one hand,
it's just, it's not really about, when you throw, you're going to get hit. You know, he loves fighting. He's a fighter at heart. Like I said, with age, the older you get, the smarter you get, the more wiser you get. Then you realize, like, I take less risk and I become more of a boxer. He has that ability. But now he's young and he's in his prime.
Boxing trainer and analyst Greg Hackett suggested that Fundora may still have some mental preparation to complete before stepping into the ring with a fighter as dangerous and talented as Boots Ennis. In Hackett's view, the champion may need additional time to fully prepare himself mentally and emotionally for the magnitude of the challenge ahead. Facing Ennis would represent a significant test, not only because of his physical abilities and technical skills, but also because of the pressure that comes with fighting one of the most dangerous competitors in the division. Hackett believes Fundora must be completely prepared for that reality before committing himself to what could become one of the toughest and most demanding challenges of his career. The fight would require focus, confidence, discipline, and the ability to remain composed when Ennis begins applying pressure and testing every part of his game.
At 154, I think it's going to happen at 60.
Why?
I don't think Fundora wants that trouble at 54. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's so sure of himself. I think it's going to take him a couple years mentally to be really sure of himself. He talk a good game. He do. When he do his interviews, he talk a hell of a game. 30 seconds. He talk a hell of a game, but I don't think this is just me off of my observation. I don't think he's pleased with himself just yet to say he's going to fight Boots after he,
Porter also pointed out that what fans see on film does not always tell the complete story of what a fighter can experience inside the ring. Ennis may look explosive, incredibly fast, sharp, and dominant when watching his performances from the outside, but Porter believes facing Fundora presents an entirely different kind of challenge. Fundora's unusual height, exceptional reach, awkward style, and ability to disrupt an opponent's rhythm can completely change the dynamics of a fight once the two fighters are standing across from each other. His physical advantages allow him to control distance in ways that many opponents are simply not accustomed to dealing with, while his unconventional approach can make even experienced fighters uncomfortable. Porter explained that even elite competitors can be forced to abandon their usual game plan and make significant adjustments once they experience Fundora's style firsthand. What looks simple on film can become much more complicated when those long arms, unusual angles, and constant pressure are directly in front of you, forcing an opponent to rethink everything they normally rely on to succeed.
Boots, I don't know if they game plan. To me, it seems like Boots is like, and Dad Bozy, we just gonna get you ready. Can't nobody beat you. Well, sometimes you gotta get ready for the guy across from you. And what I now know about this dude, he getting ready for who's across from him. And that's why I'm breathing like that, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to be ready, he's going to have the right weapons, and he's going to be calling on the right weapons all night long. I have no doubt about that from this dude right here. And I know with all 16 plus weapons that Boots got, Boots be like this.
Yeah.
You know, you got to, nah, bruh. With this one right here, it's got to be, all right, shotgun. Don't do him. All right, stab him. All right, done. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be pulling out the right things at the right time. We got to be prepared to come to the ring with 8 weapons that we know we need against this dude, not 16 weapons.
Chris Algieri echoed those concerns, describing Fundora as one of the most difficult fighters in the division to figure out and prepare for. Algieri highlighted Fundora's enormous physical advantages, including his exceptional height, long reach, and awkward style, but he also pointed to the significant improvements the champion has made since his fight with Brian Mendoza. According to Algieri, Fundora has become more disciplined and controlled in his approach, showing greater patience while making better decisions throughout each round. He is also using his jab more effectively, allowing him to establish distance, disrupt his opponent's rhythm, and create opportunities without constantly exposing himself to unnecessary danger. Algieri believes Fundora has also learned to take fewer unnecessary risks, which has made him a more complete and difficult opponent to deal with. Those improvements suggest that Fundora is no longer relying only on his unusual physical gifts, but is combining those advantages with better fundamentals, smarter decision-making, and greater discipline inside the ring. That evolution could make him an even more complicated challenge for anyone hoping to defeat him at 154 pounds.
He's so long, and he's getting better. He's improving. He's improving. He's learning how to use his size. He's using his jab. He's being more disciplined. He's not taking risks like he used to. Talk about a guy who used to allow people to hit him and then has figured out that you shouldn't do that at the highest level in that Brian Mendoza fight. But since then, he's been very, very good. So, yeah, I can understand why people would see him as the final guy because, again, with those physical advantages and the way that he's getting better.
Tim Bradley Jr. also highlighted just how dangerous Sebastian Fundora has become, suggesting that some fighters may simply be unwilling to face him while he is performing at the highest level of his career. Bradley believes certain opponents could be waiting for the towering champion to show signs of slowing down, losing momentum, or becoming less effective before finally committing to the matchup. From Bradley's perspective, that possibility says a lot about the kind of challenge Fundora currently represents for the rest of the division. His unusual size, reach, pressure, awkward style, and improving discipline can make him an extremely difficult opponent to prepare for, especially for fighters who rely on controlling distance or establishing a comfortable rhythm. If top contenders are genuinely hesitant to face Fundora until they believe he has declined, then it speaks volumes about how difficult the champion has become to deal with inside the ring. At the top level of boxing, hesitation can reveal just how much respect a fighter has earned, and Fundora appears to be earning plenty of it.
Love and respect for him because that man is from around my way. He's from around my way. He from the valley. I got none but respect for Fundora. They see the danger in fighting him right now.
Andre Ward recalled the moment Jaron "Boots" Ennis attended Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s fight and made it clear from ringside that their long-awaited showdown needed to happen. After Ortiz secured his victory, the two fighters came face-to-face inside the ring, creating another intense moment that added even more fuel to the growing rivalry. The confrontation immediately caught the attention of fans and boxing observers, who had already been calling for the matchup between the two highly regarded contenders. Ennis then publicly questioned where the contract was, sending a clear message that he was ready to move the negotiations forward and turn the talk into an official fight. Rather than simply discussing the possibility from a distance, Boots appeared willing to take the next step and put everything on the line against Ortiz. That moment added another layer of anticipation to a matchup that has continued to generate interest, with both fighters seemingly making it clear that they are prepared to find out who truly belongs at the top of the division.
In the arena, in the Dickies arena that night, and it was Jaron Boots Ennis. He was ringside, and he kept hitting his hand like this, saying that it's time. It's time. He got in the ring while Virgil Ortiz was doing his post-fight interview, and they went back and forth. And I don't know, normally when you see something like that, you walk away from the TV or wherever you're watching the fight, and you have a lot of confidence that that's going to be the next fight. Based on some of the things that were said, they're arguing about who started it and whose father did what. And then I heard Boots, basically hypothetically.
Paulie Malignaggi also believes Ennis versus Ortiz has genuine blockbuster potential, particularly if Boots is able to retain his world titles. In his view, putting a world championship on the line would elevate the matchup from a highly anticipated fight into a major championship event with much greater stakes and worldwide attention. Malignaggi believes the presence of a title would add another layer of pressure and significance, giving both fighters even more motivation to deliver their best performances when they finally meet inside the ring. A championship at stake would also make the matchup more meaningful for the division, as the winner would not only claim bragging rights but also strengthen their position among the sports elite. With Ennis bringing his speed, power, versatility, and championship credentials, and Ortiz bringing his dangerous punching power and aggressive style, Malignaggi sees the ingredients for a fight that could capture the attention of the entire boxing world. If Boots keeps his titles, the potential showdown could become one of the biggest events at 154 pounds.
You can get all the big names, I know Virgil Ortiz is being mentioned, but right now Virgil Ortiz is on the bench in a contract dispute with Golden Boy that may or may not last a while, but hopefully there can come a point where Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz can't fight each other, because that would be a blockbuster fight. And guess what? Now that could be for a world title. That was one of my gripes about that fight when they were going to make it before, that it wouldn't have been for a world title. If Virgil Ortiz comes back and if Jaron Ennis holds on to these belts, that fight becomes a world championship fight, which I think gives it even more meritocracy, and it gives it the meritocracy that it does deserve. So, man, I want to know your thoughts on that, and any other names in the junior middleweight division you guys think will be a fun fit for Jaron Ennis, and what the chances are of such guys.
I want to know your thoughts on that matchup, along with any other names in the Dream 154-pound division that you guys believe could be a fun and realistic fit for Ennis, and what the chances are of those fighters actually beating Boots or giving him a serious challenge in what could become a major, legacy-defining event for both men. However, Sean Zittel sees the potential matchup as far more competitive than some fans and analysts might expect. He believes Ennis could use the movement, angles, and footwork that previously gave Ortiz problems against Israel Madrimov, while also finding opportunities to land more effectively from the outside and control the distance. In Zittel's view, Ennis possesses the athletic ability and versatility to create problems for Ortiz and force him to fight at an uncomfortable pace. Still, not everyone shares that level of confidence in Boots. One analyst went in the completely opposite direction, dismissing Ennis's chances altogether and predicting that Ortiz would stop him at 154 pounds. That sharp difference in opinion only adds more intrigue to a potential matchup, because while some see Ennis as the more versatile fighter, others believe Ortiz's pressure, power, and aggression could ultimately prove too much for him.
Then, because of the fundamentals?
That's a good fight. That's a good fight. That's
I talked to Nah last night. Naeem.
Oh, wait. Here we go.
Here we go. You know what's one thing that makes me think Ennis does win that fight? Even though Ortiz right now on paper is the favorite. He's been at 54 and all. When you look at how Madrimov's awkwardness and his movement in that fight made it hard for Ortiz to get off until later in the fight, Ennis can implement the same.
Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because your support truly means a lot to us and helps the channel continue bringing you more boxing content. We greatly appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch, support, and engage with our videos. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more breaking news, fight updates, expert reactions, and the latest developments from the world of boxing.